You may begin to feel anxious or excited.
Honest, deliberate, engaging, uncensored.
High-dosage administration can cause adverse reactions.
And most importantly, independent in mind and execution.
This is a normal response. Are you ready?
Marawa Sports Worldwide.
I don't have any doubt. It's in my blood. I'm going to rule South Africa. Just wait now.
I've been seeing you on TV following all those political dinosaurs, and you have not been following us. Why were you not covering other political parties, only cover all those Madalas? Just answer that question.
Jengele, we did cover other political parties.
Good evening, Rob, and good evening to the legend, Benny McCarthy. I'm sending this voice note from a voting station. Couldn't miss the show. Rob, I don't think we as South Africa appreciate Benny McCarthy compared to what I've experienced in Portugal.
You're not as appreciated here at home as they do in Portugal.
Unfortunately, it is a shame, but it is what it is. So every time I go to Portugal, I go to Spain, you feel the appreciation and the love, and sometimes you just wish that this was happening in our own country.
Because this is the day when South Africa decide on the future of our country.
Robert Marawa, live on 947. Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live. #MSW.
Well, I guess the only thing the fans would be saying if you support Amazulu is Hebe, and then there would be a response that comes through. I leave that to the president of the club because, that's his department, and that's the club that he represents, that's the club that he owns, that's the club that he runs, that's a club that he has a future, and he has imperatives that have got to be met. Now, tell you what, from a top 8 season that they wanted to a finish in the 11th spot. I'm not sure if that's the kind of season they wanted, but be that as it may, whether it is dubbed difficult season, whether it's dubbed below par, whether it's dubbed anything, you'll decide, because that's why we have these honest conversations here on the show, to reflect back on a season that was, and on and off the pitch, they suffered setbacks, they suffered sorrows, and one thing that's remained very consistent, though, is the fan base. The fan base has remained pretty consistent. The drive to get better and better is always there. Now, the Usutu president, Sandile Zungu, he joins us here to reflect on the campaign that has been for his club.
Hebe Usutu. Hebe Usutu. Uyayivubela impi, uyayivubela. Babe ngapha, singapha, kwafa umuntu ginqi. Ufile umuntu, usadikisa. Ufile umuntu, usadikisa. Samthe esweni usadikisa. Yithi labo.
Kiki madoda. Awangena usenza ngakhona ikhombe le emfuleni. Ngena la phakathi esentini. Baba, good evening. Welcome to the show. What a way. Electrifying in many, many ways. Yes. I know there's electioneering in the air. There's voters in the air. There's results in the air. There's so much in the air. Good to have you in the studio.
I thank you so much for inviting me and for hosting me here, especially at this time. We've just finished the season.
Yes.
And it's a moment for reflection. And it's a moment for, thinking aloud about the future.
How loud have you been thinking about the future? How loud have you been thinking about the past campaign that you've had?
Look, about the future, we play a long game.
Yes.
To build a brand from where we took it, a very resilient brand, a legacy brand, but which needed to be commercialized, which needed to be dusted up and taken to new markets. That cannot be done overnight. So one has got to think long in terms of this long game. Notwithstanding, every season is played every 12 months. It's done and dusted in 12 months. And even your fortunes will be decided within those 12 months, including pre-season, of course. And so you have to compete in every season, not only to avoid being relegated, but also to aspire to compete for the cups on offer and to give something to your fan base in terms of breaking rights, in terms of local derbies, among others. Yes.
And I'm glad you go with it in that way in terms of reflecting. I was trying to look at some of how the people have described this season. Others have said that it's been less than impressive, and you finish in 11th position. 2 seasons you avoid playing or unable to meet the objective of a top 8 finish. And then I obviously then sit back and I wonder and I say, how do you sit with the management and say that, guys, you know what, missing this target which you wanted, you had said top 4, for example, and you said at the least top 8. And you miss that mark. What does that say about your report card then that you present?
Well, it's leadership is about accountability.
Yeah.
Empowerment has the counter, which is accountability. So every time the season ends, I think about the players. I think about management or administration. I think about the technical team. I even think about the board, including myself. I look at myself in the mirror and I ask myself, have I led in a manner that my shareholder, which has entrusted me with this responsibility, can be proud of? And then decide how to move forward. The truth about this season is, you ask, how would I characterize it? It's certainly, it's a below par performance. There's no question about it. I think the 11th position on the log speaks for itself. The previous season, I characterized it as a season I want to forget about. Because that was troubled. I dealt with a very, late survival. Personally, we survived relegation in the 3rd last game of the season. This time, I was not worried about relegation, to be very honest. I knew we would not be relegated. We had the pedigree. We had a strong technical team. I'm very proud of the technical team. There are some elements which obviously are obvious to everyone. That there were games whose outcomes I thought were not commensurate with justice. We lost points that I thought, in my opinion, we were cheated. So if I had to be very fair to the technical team, if I had to be fair to the players, I would have had to say, look, add those 13 points, we'll have probably finished 49 points. Give or take 5 points from there, we'll still have finished with 44 points. And I thought that was a very fair position for the team. I can count the game we played against Marawa Swallows. We got a red card. We thought that the referee should have given the other party at least something.
Equal
treatment. But Swallows capitalized on that. They came back from 1-0 down to lead to win the game. If there'd been a fair treatment, a balanced treatment, the outcome would have been different. Polokwane City, we deserved a penalty. The player handled the ball, which was already in play. The referee pretended like nothing happened. We should have got that. We should have won that game. We walked away with only 1 point. If you looked at the game against Chippa, away from home, their player pushed our goalkeeper into the net with the ball in hand, and the referee said it's a goal. If you looked at the game against Orlando Pirates, here in Orlando, most recently, we played with 1 man down. And we held on. Ultimately, we lost the game 1-0. a game against Mamelodi Sundowns at King Zultin Stadium. We scored a brilliant goal, Bula Eckstein. It was disallowed. And Mongeni Gumete handled Zwane, but there'd been a tussle beforehand, which the referee should have given in our direction, but he didn't. So they got a penalty. They won that game. So if you add all those points, including one or two other games I did not mention here, now for me to can then stand up and say the performance by the team and the technical team was pathetic, would be very unjust in the face of the evidence I've just presented. So I'm very happy that my team, despite all of that, they put up a very strong performance. We could have made it to the semi-final of the Nedbank Cup, but we didn't.
So again, that was a highly contested game.
Absolutely. Extremely
controversial. Player that purportedly went down, a former player of yours, gets up and he celebrates like he has scored a goal.
That's right. I mean, look, it's unfortunate, but the outcome was what it is. We couldn't progress to the semi-final. We wanted to be in the semi-final. We thought we deserved to be in the semi-final. If you looked at the semi-final against TS Galaxy in Durban, again, I thought we lost very controversially. But the advance to lose against Stellenbosch, I thought we deserved to play in the final. It's soccer. I'm not complaining. I'm just stating the facts as they are. It is soccer, and these things do happen. How do they happen? I don't know. But as a victim, we cannot escape those incidents out of our memory, and they influenced ultimately, the spectator perception that it was a very subpar performance because they're looking at the position on the log.
It's a results-driven.
Yeah.
It's a results-driven business. And for you, maybe the people that are listening, and trust me, you can watch this live on the YouTube channel, is that all the games, all the incidents, all the names involved, the president has mentioned them off the top of his head. It's not written down on any piece of paper. He knows, he remembers them as if it was yesterday. So obviously that has had a major impact. The coach has said the same thing about the officiating. We have, I suppose, in football, something called a review committee, for example. It would never give you back the points, but there would be a closeness to justice being achieved one way or the other. Feeling vindicated would be one of them, saying, yeah, you see, it was the wrong call that was made. In any of those incidents, did you ever get back a report from a review committee coming through from SAFA, the SAFA, committee that sits through? Did they ever come back and say, here's a report, these particular games that you've mentioned, you're right. In fact, we were wrong as the referees committee, and this is the punitive measures that we've set aside for those referees?
Something ought to be done about the interaction between the review committee under SAFA and the clubs, the complainants. I remember a couple of seasons ago, Kaizer Chiefs was granted a penalty, a very dubious penalty, at the end of the game. You will have sworn that there was a VAR, yet it wasn't. They got a penalty, they equalized, we left disappointed. Molelegwa, may his soul rest in peace. And Jeli Shavani were suspended.
Yes.
We heard they are suspended. We're not informed.
So nothing formal comes to you?
We were not informed. We just heard that they are suspended. We're not informed. I mean, recently we wrote about and called for the lifting of the suspension of Mubarak because we thought it was outrightly incorrect. Nothing happened. He served his 3-game suspension. Because it was not the first red card he got this season. I mean, the first one was against Moroka Swallows, the one I cited earlier. We played without a key member of our team for 3 games. And thank God we are where we are. So the communication can be improved. It needs to be improved for the good of call it the product that we've invested so much in.
We all know that in football, Mr. Zungu, there is retrospective action that can be taken. That's why we're talking about the review committee. Cards can be rescinded once a decision has been brought forward. Again, I ask the question, in all of these, and I've spoken to Victor Gomes on the show several times, and he's the one who says, you know what, we were pushing for VAR to be there by the Nedbank Cup final. It's not going to happen, probably not going to happen anytime soon, but VAR is not the answer to the problems that systematically are there with a non-professional body, which is the referee's body. They are still amateurs, unfortunately, working in a professional environment. So in all of that, again, just to summarize the chat about the refereeing issue, no cards were ever rescinded for Amazulu. No retrospective action was ever taken.
None.
Wow.
None whatsoever. I mean, Mobara's cards were not rescinded. In actual fact, the impression I got when we wrote letters is that such letters were received with a great deal of disdain. Why complaining? And the informal chats somewhere said, look, if you keep on complaining, they'll be even more hardened.
As in what, you'd be more targeted?
You'd be more targeted.
But that's a threat.
It is a threat, is what it is. But I can assure you, I believe so much in justice. And I believe it's the right thing to do, to follow the channels and complain. We're right. Sometimes we complain verbally, and we're encouraged to write these letters, and we submit the letters, and then they complain when we formalize them, and let it be. We have identified the wrong, and we honestly believe that there has got to be some improvements in that regard, both in terms of communication and in terms of corrective action that may be deemed as, call it a restorative justice for the complainants, such as ourselves. Since I got involved in Amazulu in the last 4 seasons, we've written letters many times. My former general manager, Mr. Mfukeng, was just reminding me recently, said, we got tired of writing. They thought maybe in some cases we derive pleasure in expressing ourselves in the Queen's language. We're not employing people to write. We're employing people to be impactful in our product.
But did they ever respond, though? Did they ever respond? I just want a quick answer. When I come back after the break and talk about the gap, obviously that is there between Sundowns and everybody else. But with those letters you talk about, did they ever respond?
No, they do respond. Yeah. They do acknowledge them. I mean, in all fairness, they do acknowledge them. Where we have complaints is the restorative justice is not there, number one. Number two, when there is some action taken, we're not informed as a complainant that actually, by the way, you wrote a letter, it was subjected to some review, and we agree with you, and here's a corrective action we've taken. Right. It doesn't happen. No.
I mean, that obviously is said. We'll come back from the break. We'll pick up on that because I think just last week I bumped into one of the referees at the airport, and he told me, because I hadn't seen him on the circuit in the professional ranks for a while, and he says, hey, I've just come back from serving my time in the lower divisions, but I will be back soon.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Sowetan Live at the same time. #MSW.
New slots have landed at Lotto Star. Brace yourself for a whole new level of thrills and big wins on our exclusive Real Rush slot games like Mysteries of Egypt, Super 25 Stars, Big Size Fishing, and many more. You could win payouts of up to 10 million rand instantly. Exclusive to lottostar.co.za. Your world of live games. Lotto Stars licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No under 18. NRGP 0800 006 008. T's and C's apply. All games are fixed odds betting events.
We are expecting stage 15 today with only 10 minutes of power.
What? Only 10 minutes of power? You know the drill.
No power. No power.
Wake up. Wake up. You're having a nightmare again.
Blow the whistle on power cuts with the Beast Bundle and save up to 65% on your electricity bill. Subscribe to Solar now from only 1499 per month and only start paying in 2 months. Visit wetility.energy for more.
Personal trainer Steve loves us so much he doesn't take things personally. Like when we break wind in a sit-up. He wants us to be fit once and for all. What a good South African. Sadly, bad things happen to good South Africans. Steve found his muscle car in a scuffle with another car. Fortunately, Steve is insured with Budget, the official insurer of good South Africans, and with one phone call and a couple of photos, Budget helped him get his car back in ship-shape condition. Visit budgetinsurance.co.za to switch and save.
Budget is a licensed non-life insurer in FSP. T's and C's online.
In a nation built on the principles of democracy, the upcoming elections in South Africa are a crucial moment for its people.
But despite all the promises of equality and change, many are asking themselves whether these elections will truly bring about the accountability that is desperately needed.
Join us as we delve into the complexities of democracy in South Africa.
Tune in to ENCA DSTV channel 403 and enca.com.
Ready? Steady. With 400 grams of succulent ribs marinated in our great tasting Spur basting. Served with Spur-style crispy onion rings and golden chips for just $149.90. You don't need to get ready if you stay ready. And go. Spur. People with a taste for life. T's and C's apply.
Attention, this is a national alert. Cherry is here to save the day with unbeatable installments on our Cherry Tigo Pro range. Drive away in a brand new Tigo 4 Pro from just $3,999, the spacious Tigo 7 Pro from only $6,199, or the luxurious Tigo 8 Pro from only $6,399 per month. Don't miss out on these incredible offers. Visit your nearest Cherry dealer today or cherry.coza to book a test drive. T's and C's apply. Cherry, fun to drive.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Benny is in the area, ladies and gentlemen. Let's catch up with him.
We used to do this on a regular basis, and now, we've kind of not done this again. So again, thanks in a million for having me.
Now you play for a club where there is order, there's protocols. I can't just latch on to a phone call with you at any time.
But we still boys, I'm a phone call away. And
we're enjoying something called voting. As a South African and one that's eligible to vote, have you voted?
Unfortunately, Manchester, there's no voting stations here. You have to go to London.
We haven't seen load shedding in almost 2 months. We just hope and pray that after the last vote has been cast, we're not back to stage 4.
Hashtag MSW.
Hashtag MSW.
Oh man. I'm just still proud that, you made the business decision that you made and taking over this club and trying to enforce by 2032 that they win the league.
Look, we will win the league before 2032. And God willing, more than once. We're building towards that. It's not easy. There's a lot of tweaking. There's a lot of learning. Mistakes are made. We learn from those. But our singular intent is to take this brand forward, is to triumph as we desire. I'm very happy that I took this decision. I've made many great investments, Robert. In financial services, in the resources sector, in property. No investment is closest to my heart than the investment we made in Amazulu Football Club. We've put in a lot of money. We will get that money back in time, in the fullness of time. And we're figuring it out. We're business people. There's a lot of innovation in my organization. We'll figure it out. And when we crack it, people are going to say, wow, we now understand why you invested here. But so far, so good, because every day, it's especially every match day, is an opportunity for a roller coaster. You'll be hitting the ceiling with joy. And the following week, you'll be wishing there could be a hole to just pull you in with embarrassment. Those emotions, for a person like myself who is accustomed to winning in business, I appreciate them because they humble one that, you know what, life is not just about ups. And even if it's just because of this bad performance by your team in the last 90 minutes, can you please smell defeat? Can you just humble yourself and drown in those tears? It's going to be over in the next game when you win. The balance of those emotions, people don't understand. I invite them into my life. Because otherwise it becomes a very one-sided life of just triumph. We're making success in business and we continue to prosper. Soccer brings that new reality.
Yes.
But I think most importantly, social impact is the greatest here. I always say this is one game where when we have lost or when we have won, an Amazulu supporter walking on the other side of the VIP section will call on me, Zungu, come here. I'll walk closer towards him with great deal of respect. And he will engage me for 10 minutes about what we must do, which players we must sign, and how we must deal with these players that they deem delinquents. And this guy could be a gardener. He could be the youngest member in an African family setup, getting no respect from the family and little respect from society. But when he's at the stadium, he can engage with the president of Amazulu Football Club for 10 minutes and offer me advice. And I listen to him and I see him walk away with pride that I had my fair share of advice, and I hope the president will listen to me. And even if I just bring pride and affirm and empower that one person who is a member of some family, then I've done some justice. I'm happy for that.
And it makes a big difference because the minute you engage, he gets a feeling that he is being listened to, he's being appreciated. And now that he has helped me move to maybe a section of the conversation that deals with the big decisions you've got to take. End of the season means the end of certain contracts. It means the end of loan deals. It means either an extension of a contract, short-term or long-term. It means all of those things.
Sure.
How far into that process are you? For example, let me bring somebody who is a Pule Eckstein into the conversation. An incredible season that he has had for Amazulu this season. He's doubled his appearances of games played this season than he did last season. His contribution in terms of goal assists and actual goals has also doubled. But his contract is coming to the end now in June. What does Sandile Zungu do in that case?
Okay, before I answer that one specifically, this time last year, end of the 2022-23 season, I could not wait for the season to end for me to talk. And I think it's history that at the end of that season, I dispensed with no less than 12 individuals. And into this season just ended, there were remnants of people who I had to continue to purge. Why? Because I thought I had a raw deal the previous season. There were a combination of factors that just never filled me with any form of pride. And I was very happy to take that decision. For me, I'm one of those people who believes indecision is weakness in leadership. You must decide. Sometimes you are wrong, but please decide. You are a leader. So I was very firm. I needed to decide. Not only did I make changes at the level of players, but I also made changes at the level of technical and administration. Now this season, compare that season, last season with this season, I'm not in that position. I think the team by and large has put in a good shift. I'm very proud to say that. They've put in a very good shift. In the team, it's a very manageable number of maybe 26 to 28 players. If I exclude the 2 or 3 who come from the disc challenge, manageable, highly disciplined, highly focused. There'll be transgressions here and there. Every team has got its own issues that it has to manage. I think we've managed some of those issues exceptionally well. So I'm very happy with the team. 1 or 2 players, contracts have come to an end. They will not be renewed. 1 or 2. Nothing more than that. There are players whose contracts have come to an end who I assured along the way that I would like to keep. And we obviously have to agree on terms. And if we agree on terms, I'll be very happy to keep them within the team. And incidentally, Pule Extend is one of those. Pule, is an epitome of Usutu spirit. Last season, him and Thabo Qalinge were confined to train with the disc challenge because of certain issues that the technical team had deemed warranted that kind of treatment. He kept his cool. He kept his feet on the ground. He was focused, and people like Nini Vilagazi, who was at the time coaching the MDC, said, "Why are you keeping this guy here? He's so brilliant. He's educating the youngsters. We think he deserves to be considered for the big team." And for Hloza, who had just come on board, he said, "I want to see this guy." He brought them both. They did well, both of them, but Eckstein excelled. And we had a coach, Pablo Franco Martin Jimpi, who is very good with players. He has made them improve their playing. I mean, look at Tsepang Moremi. Yes. Look at Mbanjwa, straight from NFD. Moremi was also from NFD. They've become core members of the team. Look at even the playing, the contribution of someone like Mulenga in the last couple of days since he came back from Chippa. Look at Pule Eckstein, just to mention a few. So he's blossoming. And I tell him, I said, Pule, you are very mischievous. What's your age? He says 30 plus. I said, no, you're lying. You're 24. Because his contribution, his physical exercise, his output is reminiscent of a young Pule Eckstein of old. So he deserves, that kind of reward. We just have to agree on the terms. That's it. And if we do, he stays in the team. He loves the team. That's what he's told me.
So
we love him.
You put the offer to him that you would love to extend.
Give me until I've always said to players, whether I've submitted something or I'll submit something, the deadline is tomorrow for exercise of options, for presentation of proposals for next season. And people must obviously be given time to think about it. At least we have a weekend in the intervening period.
But those are your thoughts to keep him within the fold. I mean, he's 33 years old.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, previous season, I mean, the guy makes, 12 appearances in all competitions. This season, he's made 27. And that alone tells you.
Now, not only has made 27 appearances, but his intervention at critical times. The goal we talk about, which is scored, brilliant goal against Mamelodi Sundowns, which was denied by the referee. He was in the thick of things in many instances, assists and.
3 assists and 2 goals. I mean, 2 goals and it really counts up to 5 goal contributions. And I think in modern football, any coach who can see that over and above everything else would be quite happy. I got a tweet here. Somebody was saying that would you keep a guy like Moremi? I know you spoke about him now, but is he in your books to what? To keep or to go?
Yeah, I would like to keep him. I mean, we proudly define ourselves as a non-selling team. And guys like Moremi, brilliant youngster. As for me, I just love my players. Those who, want to make a contribution to Amazulu. I don't only treat them as employees. I treat them as my boys, not in a condescending fashion, but I just want them to succeed. And so Moremi is one of those. He's fitted in very well within the team, and he's now scoring goals. I was saying, Moremi, you're playing so well, you position yourself so well. Mistake here or there, but can you start scoring goals? He scored one brilliant goal against Chippa, an overhead kick. Zulu City 10 over. Shy 10 over enzima kakhulu.
We'll come back from the break, Mr. President. I've got plenty of WhatsApp voice notes that have come through. I'm going to look at as well what is going on the YouTube channel. So, hey, also true. All my passion gone. Ow, nfeel abafet. Siyabonga.
#MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.
Progress. It's the essence of Audi. Always pushing boundaries, exceeding expectations. Imagine extending the same progress to your Audi ownership. Now, extend your cover up to 15 years or 300,000 kilometers with the Audi Freeway Plan extension. Keep moving forward with peace of mind and enjoy your Audi for longer. Experience value beyond tomorrow with an Audi Freeway Plan extension. Visit audi.co.za or your nearest dealer for more information.
Turn your Hollywood Bets gaming experience into a spectacular casino royal adventure. Bet up to 100 Rand or more on selected Hollywood Bets, Playtech slots, and live tables. And you could win one of 3 luxury trips for 2 to Las Vegas. Hollywood Bets, feel the magic.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bets supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Want to win a car with Spar? Swipe your Spar Rewards card when you buy any participating product and stand to win one of 55 red Hyundai Grand i10 sedans. Competition ends 2 June. Get 5 Roses 100s tagless tea bags for just $49.99. Rewards customers save 8 Rand. Or Clover 100 gram 6-pack dairy snack yogurt assorted, excluding fruits of the forest. Buy any 2 for only 34 Rand and save 6 Rand. Prices valid from 22 May to 2 June. T's and C's apply.
Everything changed when I realized that my weight problems were all because of long phone calls with my car insurance company. So I got naked. With Naked's AI-powered weight loss technology, getting car insurance is faster than ever. And it's all on the app. So now I never wait. Start your weight loss journey now at naked.insure. Lose weight. Get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP.
In 500 meters, turn right. In 500 meters, turn left. Turn right, turn left, make a U-turn, recalculating, turn right.
When your head feels all over the place, try Himalaya Mentat, the daily herbal supplement that helps the whole family manage stress, boost memory, and maintain a sharp and focused mind.
You have arrived at your destination.
Himalaya, the herbal expert since 1930.
It's time to carve yourself. Because prepping wena means protecting yena.
To stay forever Wena, get tested whenever.
Forever ask for consent. Condomize.
My sex if you're not feeling it. Be forever prepped and forever status checked.
Because it's not one or the other.
It's forever Wena. Know your sexual health options and choose you. Visit foreverwena.co.za.
Previously on Marawa Sports Worldwide.
Benny is in the area, ladies and gentlemen. Let's catch up with him. I know, Benny, that obviously your contract is up. Does the desire for you to be a head coach now return?
Oh, most definitely, Rob. That is like the ultimate. It's forever in my head. Like, imagine one day being the manager. Imagine one day coaching this great team. You know, so yeah, the desire, the hunger is still there. But love working for Manchester United, and yes, but obviously the itchiness, the desire, the hunger to be a coach, that always there, and I don't think it will ever go away.
#MSW. #MSW.
Good evening, Mr. Rob. It's Fulfilang here. And good evening to the MSW shoulders. And good evening to El Presidente. Oh man, President Sandile Zungu of Usuthu Lemapeshonkone. I would just love to, keep my question quite short. Throughout the 30-game season, with all its respective domestic cup tournaments that have played, be it the Carling Knockout Cup, the DSCB Premiership, the MTN8, and the Nedbank Cup, which would have been his proudest moment, where they really, really done themselves proud throughout the season, despite them, not finishing in the best desired position? Which moment, if he were to look back at the season that was, and that he can say, okay, this is probably one of our proudest moments of the season, which would that moment be? That's what I want to find out from the president himself, Sandile Zungu. Great show as always, Mr. Rob. Thanks.
Well, Falang, thank you so much indeed. I'll come back to that. I'm just going to compile a whole list of them because you know what? If the president's in town, the interest is large.
Good evening, Marawa. Good evening to the shareholders. Good evening to the president of Amazulu Football Club. Marawa, while I understand the frustration of Mr. Zungu, however, like to think that he should not comment too much on refereeing issues because he's not a referee. Of course, I know mistakes are going to happen. For one, I remember recently Kaizer Chiefs drawing with Amazulu, where Amazulu scored a goal that was also controversial. While he's entitled to his opinions on refereeing decisions, I think he must work more on improving his team so that they perform better and produce the desired results. Thank you, Ms. Marawa. Edgar from Polokwane.
Edgar in Polokwane, thank you so much indeed. Noted in terms of your questions and concerns.
Hi, Rob. This is Tom Nyati from Edenville. Greetings to the president of Amazulu. My question to him is, does he think it wasn't a mistake to let go of Penny McCarthy, considering what he had brought to Amazulu? He made Amazulu a competitive side, or was he not too impatient with Penny McCarthy in terms of continuity and growing his brand? Or there was something happening behind the scenes since the clubs, they don't talk about their internal issues? But good luck to him and his club and everything they are doing. That's my question, Rob. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much indeed. The question on Benny noted.
Evening, Big Robert, and evening to Chairman, Mr. Sandile Zungu Manzini, Usengwayo. Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to find out about Superfan yenu, jersey number 8, Udlamini. Does he get any assistance in terms of traveling to games, or does he get any form of remuneration from the club? Because, hey man, lo muntu uyabuletha ubunandi lapha eDurban. He's probably the bottom seal of nowadays. Does the club even assist him with any kind of money to travel and be part of the stadium vibrancy?
Yeah, great questions all round. I think we are limited in terms of time. So, Mr. Prez, I'm going to push you for time. Nice, quick, short, sharp, so we can get through a lot of these that are coming in here. Maybe let's start with the easy one, the super fan. I mean, he even influenced the Africa Cup of Nations and that celebration went global even, not only just the Africa Cup of Nations, but remuneration is what is being asked here. Do you give him support?
Lamine number 8 is a very proud member of Usutu family. You know, people are not aware that, he has some relationship with one of our sponsors. You know, I can't disclose more.
Okay.
Simply because it's outside of my purview. But we do appreciate his contribution to the brand Usutu. We appreciate his contribution to the soccer product. And we do appreciate that he needs to be assisted, and indeed he gets assisted. Is it enough? No, it will always be debatable. But we certainly appreciate him, not only him, but others as well.
I go to Edgar's question. Edgar talks about the controversial moments, and I go as well to what has been happening on the YouTube channel. So Babalo Moketi says that, Mr. Zungu, as much as you're quoting what happened to your team, are there instances where you feel that your team got away with murder?
Of course, yes. I thought, the first game that, for example, Mobara played after a 3-game suspension, he was very overzealous. In the game. I think we're playing against Kaizer Chiefs in Devon. I think the fact that we still play the full game with all boys or men was because the coach recognized that he needed to take him out at halftime. He could have earned himself a red card, and I thought the referee was very lenient, if not considerate. We do recognize those points. So when we are done injustice, we speak. Also when we've been treated leniently, we do speak like I'm doing now. For a fan somewhere in Limpopo to say we must just effectively shut up and not explain why we have 36 points and not 44 points or 49 points. For me, it's unacceptable. And I did say that one is not complaining. We know the channels for complaining, but I'm explaining what happened. And the fact that I'm specific in enumerating them, please don't, be harsh on me for being
honest,
factual.
Yeah, and I take that. I take it. That's why I said that it's an open conversation. It's an honest conversation, and it's one for engagement. And sometimes people would want to then think, he's complaining, he's making excuses. We hold you accountable as the boss of the club, and that leads me to my question to say that a team that's been well invested, like a Mamelodi Sundowns. People say, they got money, they can do anything that they want. But at the same time, many clubs within the Premier Soccer League have always had money, but they have not achieved the level of success, let me say, even within the PSL era, 96, 97, that Sundowns have. So if the gap between 1 and 2, which is Orlando Pirates and Sundowns, is 23 points, it gets worse for Amazulu, who then fall into a big gap of 37 points. When you look at it in its totality, and you fall, just like Kaizer Chiefs, within 6 points away from a relegation place playoff.
Sure.
So that is almost like teetering with a bit of danger for your club, either way. Closing that gap with Sundowns would then require what change of plan? I mean, you brought in a football director in Pedro Diaz, who's come in. That is one footballing difference that you've made. What else do you think you need to do?
Well, first of all, before I answer that, I think it's only proper that on this platform I congratulate Mamelodi Sundowns for their success. I think what they've done, winning the league 7 times in a row, not only is it unprecedented in the South African context, maybe in Germany, France, it's nothing to rave home about. But in the South African context, that is something to be ululated for. And I take my hat off as the president of Amazulu and on behalf of the entire Amazulu family to Mamelodi Sundowns. They've done exceptionally well. Not only the administration of Sundowns and the technical team, but also the players. They deserve due praise by their peers. And on behalf of Amazulu, I'm doing that. Wow. What we need to do is to try and learn from them.
Yeah.
I don't think that they are where they are because they've just thrown money at the challenge. They've done more than that. We do interact with them, in as much as we enjoy a very good relationship with other teams, and we compare notes with Orlando Pirates. I speak to the Gosana quite regularly. Speak with the chairman on occasions. I speak with Kaiser Chiefs management at various levels, and we compare notes. And just to mention a few teams, TS Galaxy, Chippa, Arrows, Richards Bay United. And when I look at the Sundowns success, and we have to emulate that in terms of how we deal with the scouting, how we populate the management structures at various levels, call it back office kind of administration as well as front office. We're learning, of course, it takes resources, it requires resources. Some of those resources we do not have. But like I said, we'll figure it out. We're very new in the game, and we're playing a long game. Some of our objectives and targets may not be met at the time we so desire, but in the fullness of time, they will be met. So we'll keep on tweaking. We are committed to investing the resources, requisite resources to make that work. And we're prepared to do the changes that need to be had, at various levels to achieve that.
Bongani Mapela, I'm trying to keep track of what's happening on the YouTube channel here, but Bongani says that Mr. Sandile Zungu is one of the most eloquent leaders, very clear, ambitious. What was his most impressive and proudest moment by his team this season? Which means that I take you back to the very first question from Hulufelang, who says, what was your proudest moment as well so far this season?
Well, this season we lost one of our key players, Bongenko Sintuli. May his soul rest in peace.
And our condolences
That's
to
right.
you as a team and obviously as a family member.
Thank you very much. The players, played for him. When he was in hospital, we played the quarterfinal of the Coca-Cola Cup against Arrows. They knew they had to cheer him up. He was in hospital in Peter Marisbeck. We went in there, we pumped 3 goals against Arrows at Moses Mabhida Stadium. And he passed on a few days later. He passed on a day later. And we're faced with the question, should we postpone our game against Arrows? And we insisted we needed to play the game because the players want to play for him again. At some stage, we were trailing 1-0. I think it was the 82nd minute of the game. And we came in. We scored 3 quick goals and we won the game 3-1. It was a very proud moment because, when we play against, Arrows, when we play against Bay United, when we play against, Royal AM, we attach heavyweight on those games because it's about the the pride of being the giants of KwaZulu-Natal. And remembering that the previous season, out of for 8 games we played against local opposition, we only got 4 points, lousy 4 points. So now with one less team, and we're endeavoring to earn more points. We've doubled those points, 8 points from the 3 opposition. And so when we performed like that, I was very proud as the owner of Amazulu Football Club. Of course, the last game of the season, we lost against Arrows. Good luck to them. They played exceptionally well.
Yeah.
They possibly needed the victory more than we did in terms of our display, even though we wanted it. Because if we won, we had gone into the top 8. Yeah. But let it be. So when we play well in the local derbies, of course, I'm filled with a lot of pride. When we do badly, I'm equally very unhappy, as any leader of those teams will be, whether they admit it or not. I admit here that when we lose against local opposition, I become very angry.
Okay, what are you admitting? Quickly, Tom Nyati, I've only got 30 seconds left, and it's unfair for me to squeeze it at the end. It's just, there's no time. He talked about Benny McCarthy. He says, was it a mistake, etc., etc. How do you summarize that decision? You've been asked many times about this.
I've been asked so many times. Benny McCarthy was a great contributor to Amazulu brand. There's no doubt about it. With the passage of time, one is even able to review that season with greater objectivity. He did very well for the brand. Where I possibly think we let him down, the following season, we didn't sign quality players to augment the stock that he had. And he was going to Africa to compete in the CAF Champions League. And he did the best that he could. He escaped the early qualifying rounds, went into the group stages. He did very well. But I wanted a top 8 finish at the very least. And he wouldn't assure me of a top 8 finish. And I had to pull the trigger, as it were.
But you're not going to pull the trigger now that you finished 11th.
Pablo Chimbi is going to be with Usutu going forward. I think he's doing an excellent job. And I know the project, I'm committed to it. Yeah. I believe in it. And, no change is going to happen there.
Baba, as always, thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's like a football game. We're out of time. Referee's optional time is not an option here. But thank you so much, man. Have a good rest. I know big decisions over the weekend in terms of contracts. Look forward to chatting to you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
The president of Amazulu Football Club, ladies and gentlemen, Ubabu Sandile Zungu.
Uyayivubela. #MSW live now on 947 Vuma FM, Rise FM, and Soweto Live at the same time. #MSW.